I've been waiting to speak to you all, and I almost lost the opportunity. Thank you, Paloma. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, parents, my dear partners, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. And I'm glad I'm getting to speak about this issue, which I am deeply impacted by. You know, நாங்களாம் சின்ன வயசுல குழந்தையா இருக்கும்போது பசங்களா இருக்கும்போது வீட்டில் ஒன் திங் தட் வி ஹர்ட் த பேரண்ட்ஸ் கீப் சேயிங் இஸ் ஏன்டா இவ்வளோ சத்தம் போடுறீங்க, கொஞ்சம் வாய் மூடிட்டு இருக்க மாட்டீங்களா? அதுவும் 4 பசங்க சேர்ந்து ஒரு ரூம்ல வந்துட்டாங்கன்னா, ஒரு வீட்டுக்குள்ள வந்து விளையாட ஆரம்பிச்சாங்கன்னா, ஏன்டா இவ்வளோ கத்துறீங்க அப்படின்ட்டு அலறுவாங்க பேரண்ட்ஸ். யூனோ, all new parents of teenagers today will agree with me that we don't say that anymore. If 6 or 7 friends of yours, if your child comes home, இவங்க என்ன எங்க இருக்காங்க, என்ன பண்றாங்க, my son's 4 friends will come. They will sit in the room, and I'm telling you, I saw this somewhere and I can relate to it completely. I'm in the living room and I'm asking my wife, என்ன பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க? ஒரு சத்தமே காணும், எல்லாம் ஒரே ரூம்ல உட்காந்துருக்காங்க. என்னத்த பார்த்துட்டு இருக்காங்க? வாட் இஸ் இட் தட் கன்சூமிங்? போன் கீன் பாக்குறாங்களா, என்னன்னு புரிய மாட்டேங்கிறது. ஸோ வி ஆர் ஆல் நர்வஸ், ரைட்? சரி, நான் சும்மா போய் பக்கத்துல உட்காந்து ஐ எம் ட்ரைங் டு see what they're doing. There are 5 guys sitting there. They're all going through reels. They're very comfortable sitting there, but they're all going through the reels. One guy will see something that is funny, and he'll sit and go. அதுக்கப்புறம் he won't talk about it to his friends. He'll forward it to these 5 guys. You know who has seen it, and because the other guy is now going. No, 8 பேர் சேர்ந்து தனித்தனி டயத்துல ஒரே ஜோக்ல சிரிக்கிறாங்க. But they're not talking to each other. They are vibing with each other. They are playing something called Fortnite. Now, the only time I hear them, the voices, is when they are playing Fortnite. Not because they are talking to each other. It's because they've got the headsets, and these 5 guys in India are fighting 5 guys in Netherlands and Russia, and real 5 guys. So they are talking amongst each other to their partners around the world, saying, flank me from here, shoot him from there. And they don't take names. Correct me if I'm wrong. By the way they are talking on the mic, some guy in Poland knows that my son is addressing him. He doesn't even say the name. The perception level is so high that if I want you to come and, support me from the left while I go and attack from the right, he'll just say left, right, that the guy who's being addressed to, without his name being known, without the language being known, without the tradition or culture being similar, he knows who Vedant is talking to. That level of perception is incredible amongst the teenagers today. But what I'm here to talk about today is 3 things. What is screen time? What is social media? What is the mental and psychological effect of this? The physiological effect of this? How does it change the family structure? And what we are trying to do. This is what I'm going to talk to you about. I don't know how many of you all remember, many years ago, there was something called the blue whale. Do you all remember the blue whale? You all remember. For those of you who don't know what the blue whale was, it's about a decade ago. In today's world, and I think 10 years ago, the one thing that every individual in the world is dying to have is recognition, is an individuality, is being known, is having an identity, especially the teenagers, because when we were kids, we just had to find relevance in our group of 40 school class children or in the 20 boys and girls in our locality. Now your kids are competing with the kids around the world. Everybody is putting up videos, making them want to feel validated. They also want to be as popular. They want to know likes, how much of dislike. So this lack of identity makes all these youngsters feel very, very lonely. And loneliness gives rise to a craziness that resulted in something called the blue whale. The blue whale was a program that was invented by a Russian psycho, which gave all these teenagers challenges that they had to achieve one by one. Yell at somebody from your window, throw an egg on the road, get in the way of a cyclist. Every challenge slowly became more and more tougher. And every time you did it and you uploaded the video, you got to the next stage. Ladies and gentlemen, it got more and more challenging, even more challenging, till it came to a point when it told the teenagers, take the phone and kill yourself on camera. And there were teenagers around the world just for that validation, just for that recognition, just for that honor or craziness, who were killing themselves on camera because of this Blue Whale app. Girls jumped off buildings in Singapore. Boys cut their wrist. It was so horrifying that we were living through that era wondering, oh my God, what will happen if I had a kid during that time? What the army and great defense agencies try so hard to cultivate within their soldiers to give their life for the sake of a belief of their protection of their nation. We spend so much time in training them, in motivating them, in feeding them, in feeling them and making them feel relevant and making them feel that their families are taken care of. So you can go and fight bravely for your country and if required, give your life for it. They spend years and crores of rupees trying to motivate somebody to do that. A small app was able to do that to teenagers. That put the fear of God in me. The second thing is, this is a dramatic impact, and I hope that none of our children ever get to see something like this. But even if you take a small thing, like my friend's daughter was very in love with animals. She was going to give her most important 12th standard exam. She loved the dogs, she loved cats and everything. Because she had been studying the whole night, the parents, just relax before you go to the school the next day. She went to the bathroom while sitting in the toilet, she was looking at reels. Somebody from that locality had put a reel of how he was beating a dog to death. Just one crazy idiot, he just said, this dog was barking the whole night and I beat the crap out of the dog. She saw that, she started to cry. It was one of the dogs that she knew. And she failed all her exams. She just couldn't get over the fact that somebody would do something as brutal like this. And imagine a 14-year-old girl seeing something like this early in the morning. This news is not relevant to her. You're not mature enough mentally, physiologically, psychologically to handle this sort of morbid news. That is the reason why we used to have censorship. That is the reason why Appa Amma used to say, "Dey, nalla pasangaloda suthungada, unnoda company nalla illa. இவன் நல்ல ஆளு கிடையாது, இந்த பையனோட சுத்தாத" அப்படின்னு சொல்றதுக்கு ஒரு காரணம் இருந்துச்சு. இப்போ you cannot say that. Because நல்லவன், கெட்டவன், குடும்பமானவன், பயங்கரமானவன், பைத்தியக்காரன் எல்லாமே அந்த போன்ல இருக்கிறாங்க. And you have no control over who they are having a conversation with, what is the impact of that conversation, what is the company your child is keeping. The third thing is physiological aspect of it. Most of us are now only engaged in our phones. Even now, I'm not trying to mock you all, but instead of listening to what I'm saying, we're far more engrossed in trying to capture it and seeing if I can make a reel about what is going to happen, and this is what Maddy said. That aspect of making the phone such an important aspect of your life on every minute has made two things happen. One is your spine has started becoming curved at your neck. You're finding it difficult to sleep every day. You're finding your beds to be too soft. You're finding it very difficult to not have neck issues. But let me give you an even more dramatic issue. I want all of you all to hold up both your small fingers, these two fingers. I want you to feel the hand in which you don't use the phone. Just run your hand along the rib and see if there is a dip in your finger. And then do that to the same hand that you use the phone and see if there is a dip in your right or left hand. I promise you, you all have mobile phone fingers. If you can see, I have it myself. There is a dip over here where we use the phone. Can you all feel it? Can you all tell me if you all feel it? Is there a dip in your finger? Your body is changing because of that bloody phone. I'm 55. You're probably, all young and handsome looking guys, but not as old as me. But when children start having that at the age of 10 and 9, then you know that you're going into a completely different world that is going to teach us a very important but dramatic lesson at a great cost before we're able to curtail the damages that this screen time and social media can do to the children. Social media is not all bad. There are extraordinary lessons over there and extraordinary reels. But not all the information is available or should be available to kids at all the time. Because as Kutral Ishwaran was saying, the ability to focus is so important in today's world that unless your child is an expert, and I'm saying this again, unless your child is an expert in a field, he's not going to survive. Leave alone excel. Unless he's got ultimate knowledge, AI is going to come and it's going to change the world the way you think. It's happening as we speak. There are quantum chips that are coming, which is working at the subatomic particle that's going to change our lives even before we realize. But so unless prompt engineers are going to come and replace all engineers that we know, jobs as we know it is going to change completely. So unless a child has the ability not just to focus, Kutaleshwaran, but also implement that focus with grit, they're not going to excel. They're not going to become experts. And again, I'm saying, unless you are an expert in a field, you're not going to survive. Earlier on, if you are sincere, you'll make it. If you're good, then you'll make it bigger. You'll get a better salary. If you're great, then you'll get into IIT, IIM, and maybe get into a big post. But now, unless you're an expert before you go into IIT, you're not going to survive. As you can see, the dropout rate from colleges and people not getting jobs in campus placement is increasing by the year. Why is that? It starts with the grit and focus that Kutraleshan was talking about at a much younger age. As parents, you're going to become villains if you introduce parent Geenee at a stage when they have started to have a mind of their own. If your kid is already 9, 10, 11, you'll have to convince them like we had to do over here. So say that again. No. I'm saying I was coming to the point. Not 3 and 2. 3 and 2, they don't have the ability to object to what you're saying. At 9 and 10, they're already adults, and they're going to fight you. And you have to convince them that this is for the betterment of and for their own goodness that we're doing this, and somehow convince them that this app needs to be installed. So it's going to be a different challenge for parents with children of different ages. But we're hoping that we're able to make this essential for every parent who's got a child who's going to get into the phone culture. If this app is already installed, then you know that the child knows that this is the discipline that the parents are expecting from him. So lastly, what is this app going to do? The thing that this app is going to do is, it's going to allow the parents to know when the child is using the social media. Now, I'm going to give you an example. I'm an actor. I have all these people messaging me on Instagram and social media. I'll tell you a simple example. A young girl messages me, I saw this movie, I really loved it, I thought you're a fabulous actor, well done, you'll motivate me, this, and at the end of it, she put lots of hearts and kisses and love symbols. Now, when there is a fan who's talking to me in such detail, I'm compelled to answer. So I always say, thank you so very much, very kind of you, God bless you. This is my reply to her. What she does is, she takes a screenshot of my reply to her and makes it as a post on Instagram. Now, what do people see? Hearts, kisses, and love things, and Maddy's reply to that. My intention was not to reply to that. My intent was to reply to her message. But because it's a small thing, you only see that symbol and think, oh, Maddy is talking to young girls. If that is the fear that I have, and I have to, let me literally say the word, it's like if I have to pussyfoot around every time I'm putting a message on social media, can you imagine that somebody without my experience, how much of trouble they're going to get into? The kids, teenagers don't know when their phones have been turned on. The cameras on their phones have been turned on. The girls don't know that if they're putting their stills from the bathroom and and usually you shouldn't be because they think they are sending it to a friend. And it's really happened. It's really happened. A 13-year-old girl's parents were monitoring her phone, and her friend sent her a picture that this 13-year-old friend's father saw, which he's not supposed to see. Because you don't know who's seeing the picture on the other person's side. So what Parent Genie does is it allows the parent to allow the child where to use the social media in their house or the screen in their house. So for me also, now I have to be very careful what kind of messages I send. Similarly, I am conscious of the fact of what message I am sending. So similarly, when you know that your parents are looking at the message you are sending, you will become conscious too as a child. That's what we are hoping. What we are also hoping is that whatever is good for the family to hear and talk is good for the child too. So the app allows you to use it only in the maybe in the drawing room or the living room or the dining room. But the moment you go to the bathroom or you go into your bedroom, inside your pillow, you want to like how we used to see magazines you're not supposed to see with torches. The kids do that with phones right now. You can't do it because social media is not active in your bedrooms. Similarly, for educational institutes, the teachers are tired because everybody is armed with knowledge. You talk to the kids, they're going to have another argument which has got no connection to you, and somehow everybody will start laughing. No problem, brother. It's okay, I can still speak. What I'm trying to say is, though the educational institutes have become a challenge for people, especially professors or teachers. So now if the social media is not working in the classrooms, is not working in the faculty rooms, does not work in areas like in the laboratory, but it will still work in cafeterias when the parents allow it or the school allows it. But let's not take away the benefits of a phone from the child. You need to be able to contact the child. It has to be a communication device. In case of a flood or a rain or an emergency, you should be able to call your child. And that is why we think that this will help the child keep the phone in the classroom instead of keeping the phones away from them. Making sure that they learn to use it responsibly. But most importantly, the phone being a communication device as opposed to a bad friend. That is what Parent Genie is hoping to achieve the world over. I think we are finding people resonating with our thoughts and our ability to regulate. And like very clearly put by my friend over here, we don't want our future generation to degenerate. We hope that we're able to inculcate our cultures, make our culture relevant for the child's own survival, and hopefully make successful, happy, and wonderful teenagers around the world. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. Lovely talking to you.
Mother is worrying about child's activities. What about the father?
He's paying for it.
I hope that answers your question, sir. Do we have any more questions?
Yes.
Yeah, if we can just pass the microphone to that side.
Yeah, myself Monisha. I run an academy. I just want to know what is the recommended age, like starting age for this app.
I literally have no idea where that question came from.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, myself Monisha. I run an academy. I just wanted to know what is the starting age for this app. Like what is the
Ma'am, we'll come to your question in just a second. This session is just for the media, so I believe we do have influencers here with us. We'll chat with you all in just a bit. This is a Q&A session for the media, but we'll go ahead and answer your question, ma'am.
So ideally, there is no specific age, but for the kid to understand what is happening, I think ideally 6 is an ideal age as start. Because they will not understand. If you tell 4-year-old, ask for a wish, they don't know. Right now, they only know to swipe up for the next video.
But I think that the age group is not meant for the child. I think this app is meant for the parent. The moment you feel that you now need to regulate the amount of time your child is spending on the screen, that is the right age. So I have seen kids who are being put to, make them to go to sleep. They're like, give the iPad, play the video game till you go to sleep. All that is happening. It's actually the parents' fault. So the parents need it much faster than the kids do, in my opinion.
ஹாய் இல்லையா
Jammer.
ஆமாம் அதே மாதிரி டெக்னாலஜிக்கலை யூஸ் பண்ணுறீங்களா அப்படின்னு
இல்ல, there is no jammer. So jammer கிடையாது. So we have specifically something called a beacon. So that beacon வந்து நீங்க லிவிங் ரூம்ல அது மாதிரி எந்த ரூம் நீங்க ஆக்டிவ்னு டிசைட் பண்றீங்களோ அந்த ரூம்ல வச்சிடலாம். மீதி ரூம்லாம் இட் வில் நாட் ஒர்க். whenever the kid, for example, bedroomலேருந்து லிவிங் ரூம் வரும்போது யூடியூப் ஆக்டிவ் ஆகிடும். அந்த லிவிங் ரூம் விட்டு வெளில போகும்போது யூ ஆர் இன் த ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்டட் ஏரியான்னு சொல்லி அந்த யூடியூப் வந்து ஆக்டிவ் ஆகிடும் போயிடும்.
Shall we take it as a moral policing of the children?
Yeah, not moral policing for sure, but jammer and sona, it's a across the plane we jam everything. This will continue to let the phone be a communication device. So you'll still get messages, you'll still get text. Your screen time as far as social media and other apps are concerned, that will be restricted in areas that the beacon is not there.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
One question from this side. What about the cost factor? Can you throw some light on that?
So right now the cost is 3,000 rupees per year per person or 299 rupees per month per person. So per family actually, you can add multiple kids. So let me correct that. You can add as many as kids possible. So based on what you select, it's the number of devices that play a role. Like ஒரு சில பேர்ல வந்து 10 டிவைஸ் இருக்கும், 4 டிவைஸ் இருக்கும். So we go by devices.
Talk about the free version. Yeah, there's actually a free version available which can be used for up to a certain number of kids and devices. But if you have more than X, then you go to the paid plan, which is 300 rupees per month, 299, or 3,000 per year.